I have these four high school buddies, and we've been getting together since high school, the five of us, at least once a year. In the beginning, and for many years, what we did was make sure that it was something crazy enough so that we could still feel like we were in high school. And some of the things we did were crazy, and some were just wild. We went to a dude ranch where none of us really rode, and we all rode horses, sore as all get out. We've gone camping. One year we actually went to the Louisiana Bayou and played with a wild alligator. I didn't say we did smart stuff. Remember, we were supposed to be like in high school. And so one year we decide to go to New Orleans, and one of our activities, to Las Vegas, and one of our activities was to go out to the desert to go skydiving. And so we go out to this place, and the first thing they do is sit you in a room where they have you watch a video. And there's this man, suit and tie, the whole bit, lawyer, sitting behind a desk, and in this video that goes on for a half an hour. And all he does for a half an hour is say over and over and over, you could die. He goes, you could die. You could die. And then he goes about telling you all the different ways in which you can die. One of the ways you can die is because it's a tandem jump and you're connected to another person, is they can cut you loose and you can fall to your death. And so they go on, telling you all the different ways you can die. They go on, giving you the statistics about how many people die doing this. And he goes on, telling you how you're going to sign all these forms saying that you and any relative and any relative yet to be and any relative you've ever had can't sue them because you knew up front you could die. And so as they're going through this process, one by one, every one of my friends stands up and goes, I can't do this, and walks out until I'm the only one left in the room. Now here's the thing about me. In the past, I had acrophobia. I couldn't even get up on a two-step ladder without starting to shake. And so this is a really big deal for me to go up 15,000 feet in an airplane and then leave the airplane. But I gotta do it. So I go through the video, and then they take me out into this other room where they start preparing me for the jump. And what they do is they put you in what's called a jumpsuit. And then they tape it up everywhere. And as they're doing this, they're telling jokes. And as they're doing this, I'm standing there totally shaking, completely out of control of my body. I mean, I'm like this. And they're acting, they're like not even like recognizing that's going on. They don't say anything about it. They're just telling their jokes as they're taping me up. And as I'm standing there shaking like this, right? And then, so they finally finish shaking me up and we get into the plane. And so now we're in the plane. And the plane's going higher and higher. And the funniest part about this is I'm attached to this 250-pound guy. Huge guy, right? And the way they do the tandem jump is you're attached my back to his front. And so when we're on the plane, I'm literally sitting on his lap. So there we are in this plane going higher and higher. It's circling and getting higher and higher and higher. And all of a sudden they say, okay, it's time to go. Now the thing they told us when we first started was that right up to the point in which you are at the door, you can change your mind. You get to say, no, I don't want to do this. Okay? That's what they told you. Here's what really happened. What really happened is I'm attached to this 250-pound guy. And the way he walks me to the door is behind me. So I don't really know where the door is. I'm facing the other wall. And we're walking like this, sideways, to the door. And then we get to the door, and then we begin to turn. And as we're turning, this 250-pound guy leans out. And of course, me being less than 100 pounds lighter than that, more than 100 pounds lighter than that, I'm out. Now, have you ever seen a Roadrunner cartoon? Remember the part in the Roadrunner cartoon where Wile E. Coyote would somehow wind up running off some cliff, and then there was this moment where he was frozen in midair, and then all of a sudden dive bombing to the earth? Well, that really happens, because there I was, outside the plane, looking at the plane I was just in. There's the plane. And here's me looking at the plane, thinking I was just in that plane. And then thinking, oh my God. And then we are dive bombing towards the earth at 160 miles an hour, zooming. And the thing about it is, when I saw the plane, somehow all the thoughts, all my fears, everything kind of left. Because now I'm outside the plane. Nothing to be afraid of anymore. I'm dive bombing towards the earth. So all my fears are gone. And I'm zoom towards the earth. And you never realize how loud 160 miles is until he pulled the chute. And then there was dead silence. It was incredible. It was all of a sudden just so quiet. And I'm looking around at the horizon. And he goes, you can take off your goggles now. And I take off my goggles. And I'm looking around, and it's amazing. We had just dive bombed for over a minute, and now we're just floating. And there are some people over there who had come out of the same plane, and they're doing these loop-de-loops, and he asked me if I want to do a loop-de-loop, and I was like, no, it's really okay. This is good enough, Didn't have to do the loop-de-loops. So we're coming down towards the earth. And the other thing they had done in training is put you through this whole thing where you had to bet about landing, how you bend your legs and you get ready to land. And so we're finally getting pretty close to the ground. As we're getting closer, it looks like it's getting faster and faster and faster, and we're getting closer to the ground. So like I'm getting ready to do this whole thing of bending your legs, and they go through this whole thing about how you could break your leg if you don't land right and all this stuff. And he says to me, you know all that stuff they showed you about landing? I go, yeah? He goes, forget it. Just stand there. I'm like, huh? He says, just stand there. So I'm like, I'm not paying attention to this guy because I don't want to be cut loose, So I'm just doing exactly what he says. And so we're getting closer and closer and closer to the ground. And when we were like within maybe 10, 15 feet of the ground, he does something with the chute, and we stop. We just stop. And slowly, incredibly slowly, just float down until the landing was softer than stepping from one step to another on a flight of stairs. It was astounding. And then my four buddies are standing right there as I land, and they fall to their knees and bow to me. And I realized at that moment that I had them. They were now mine. And so the following year, we go to a rock concert in Virginia Beach. And I look at them all, and none of us at that point had ever gotten tattoos. And I said, we are all getting tattoos this year, and I don't think you can bail again. And so they now all, including myself, have tattoos, which none of us had before that. And the moral of the story is to rule within yourself and without does not take brilliance, does not take any special powers, does not take anything except not using the words, I can't. Stand up, know you can, and you will rule.